Good morning, everyone. It was during Holy Week a few years ago, on a very bright and a very warm and an extremely beautiful day, when I was going on some of my communion calls to people's homes, very much like your own. At this particular home, I was greeted at the door by a very gracious, friendly, and warm woman using a walker. And when we made our way into the living room, we sat together and we prayed. She received Holy Communion and we prayed again. As we exchanged our pleasantries that day, we were both making our way to the door, and she stopped me dead in my tracks and pointed right to the living room front door window. And we peered out the window, and she pointed with great joy, "My husband, he still lives. He still lives." You see, she and her husband planted all kind of bulbs in the front yard. And he had cancer and went to our Lord. And she was very heavy-hearted. And it was that point that she realized that unless a grain of wheat falls to the earth and dies, it just remains a grain of wheat. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. Much fruit. These beautiful plants, you can picture she and her husband planting the bulbs. And then little did she know the gift that she would receive some months later, even after her husband died. We move closer and closer to Holy Week. And it is a time when we remember Jesus' dying and rising. We remember the cycle of life that God places in all of us. Dying and rising. That's what we're called to reflect upon. We heard so beautifully from our first reading from the prophet Jeremiah that the Lord, He has given us His covenant and placed it right in the recesses of our own hearts. That covenant, that grace, that love, that presence consumes us personally, right in our very hearts. And I pray that that covenant may find a place in you today, that you may find hope and strength and encouragement and peace. As our Lord Jesus Christ suffered and died, that you and I might have life, that you and I might not be consumed in sin, but freed in the hope and in the light and in the love of the resurrection. And so we need to ask ourselves today, what needs to die in order to be given life? Is it our own anxieties over our limitations? Is it our own fear of what the future might hold? What is it in our hearts and in our lives that we need to bury with the bulbs, that we need to place into the ground like the wheat so that it may die, and so that we might raise up in the hope and in the glory and in the light of our Lord Jesus Christ? And so as we move toward Holy Week, let us remember dying and rising, and let us remember it was Jesus who gave us this incredible gift. God bless you.